Today, I'm going to be showing you how to replace the alternator in a Nissan Altima. You'll want to start by jacking the car up and putting it on jack stands. Next, remove the wheel. With the wheel removed, you'll have access to this cover so you can get to the front of the engine. You can now get to the tensioner so you can remove the belt. Next, use a ratchet or a wrench so you can rotate the tensioner to remove the belt from the AC compressor. Next, you'll remove the engine cover. It's held on with 3 10mm bolts on top, and then you'll just need to pop it off a rubber grommet. Before you start working on the alternator, you'll want to remove the negative battery cable. Once disconnected, you can remove the nut holding the charging wire to the alternator. Then you just have to remove this connector for the alternator to be fully disconnected from the charging system. Once the belt is removed and the wires are disconnected, all you have left are the 2 bolts holding it on. They're both 13mm and one is right here and easy to reach, while the other one is directly below it and a bit harder. I had to use a ratchet with a flex head to be able to get to it. If you have trouble locating the bottom bolt, you can look at your new alternator and you should get a better idea of where the bolt is. Once you have the bolts removed, it's just a matter of squeezing the alternator through that small hole you have. I recommend removing the dipstick and also removing the bolt that holds on the radiator fill cap right there. This will give you much more flexibility coming out and also keep you from breaking off the neck that holds on the radiator cap. Now you can see I didn't remove the dipstick on the way out, but I do highly recommend it. It doesn't take a lot to break these when they're old and brittle like this. But I did go ahead and remove it so that whenever I'm going back in, I don't run that risk again. Before you go back together with it, go ahead and inspect both alternators and make sure that they're the same. Trust me, you don't want to end up fighting an alternator with a slightly different bolt pattern, because it will never go in. Also try to take note of how you took the alternator out, because it's going to go back in the same way. So as you can see, I turned it sideways, face up, and then just kind of rolled it in there. Now I chose to go ahead and put the bottom bolt in first. That's just typically how I do it, because it's usually a pivot bolt for an alternator that's adjustable. This one just bolts on and the tensioner does all the work. So you can actually probably start with whatever bolt you want, but I do recommend starting with the bottom one because it's going to be a little bit easier if you have more free play in the alternator, whereas the top one, it's very easy to reach and shouldn't give you any problem. Go ahead and tighten your bolts, remembering that the bottom bolt has a bushing it has to pull in. This is why whenever you pulled your alternator out, it felt snug, but going back in, it slipped right into place. With your bolts tightened down, go ahead and reconnect your charging wire and the connector that plugs in next to it. Reinstall the dipstick and then retighten your bolt that holds down the radiator cap bracket. Put your belt back on the alternator pulley and then go down below and work the tensioner to where you can get the belt back onto the AC compressor. Reinstall the engine cover, the wheel, and reconnect the battery, and you should be good to go. So, if this video helped you out, let me know by leaving a like, and if you'd like to see more content like this, go and subscribe. See you guys next time.